All right, welcome to Cue the Cameo. I'm Jess,
And I'm Sam.
and today we are talking about Fantastic Four First Steps. This is now the fourth Fantastic Four movie that we've gotten, and dare I say, the second best.
Second best?
We'll get into it in a minute.
Okay.
But before we even start, I feel like we need to do some grounding on who we are, and we're going to do that by talking about our favorite character in the Marvel universe.
Okay.
I don't know why it is.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay. And mine's never changed. Mine's always been the same from the very beginning, from X-Men The Last Stand, which I saw first. For some reason, out of the trilogy, I watched that one first.
I think that's because you were a baby.
I think it's because I was 5 years younger than you, and I watched that one first, and then I watched the other two like years after, which is a crime, whatever, sue me. But ever since the first X-Men The Last Stand, my favorite character has always been and maintained has always been Catherine Pryde. Always.
AKA Kitty Pryde.
Kitty Pryde, aka Shadow Cat.
And is it because of her pet dragon, be honest?
No. I do love dragons, though.
Mine was definitely like a journey. Like I started with Wolverine because it was Hugh Jackman's depiction. And obviously as a teenage girl, I was like, oh my gosh, comic werewolf kind of figure, drool. And then I feel like when I started watching the animated series and getting to know him in the comics, I was like, okay, this character is like, I'm not vibing with this character. And then it really became Rogue because I just feel like she is kind of this, like a little bit of an enigma, but she's like a really strong character who deals with like self-doubt, but is like really powerful and like shouldn't. And so I feel like over the years, it has really just turned into her. But I feel like it's funny that both of ours are like X-Men characters and not necessarily anything from the Avengers. I mean, now I'm a huge Loki fan, both because of like the comics and Tom Hiddleston's portrayal of the character.
I feel like I've always gravitated towards X-Men, though, as a franchise in the whole Marvel Universe comics and movies, and even like in the DCEU. I've always gravitated towards X-Men, so.
Yeah, I feel like there are so many of them.
There's just so many cool X-Men.
Yeah, and we get our first, I mean, it's not our first, but we get a powerful mutant in Fantastic Four First Steps. So this movie came out July 25th. It's starring Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, aka the great Reed Richards. We've got Vanessa Kirby, which I loved her in Mission Impossible. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, aka Invisible Woman, formerly Invisible Girl. We've got Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, and Ebon Moss-Bachrach as the Thing, aka Ben Grimm. Special shout out to Julia Garner, who plays Shalabal, aka the Silver Surfer.
Yeah. So, wait, why do you think this is the second best Fantastic Four movie?
Well, let's talk about what worked in this movie.
Okay.
For me, Julia Garner was like the best. Like how many times did I send you the audio of her going,
I herald his beginning, I herald your end, I herald Galactus.
like that was by far the best part of the movie. I was like squirming in my seat. She was so fantastic. I think there was a clip that came out recently where she said she actually started filming that scene the first day she was on set. They literally like loaded her onto a surfboard and like lifted her up on a crane like high above the crowd, and she was like, what did I get myself into? So for her to have filmed something so iconic her first day on set is amazing. And the CGI
Was really good.
It was amazing. Yeah. I feel like all the CGI budget from Captain America and the Red Hulk went to this movie probably. Went to Julia Garner's Silver Surfer.
Yeah. To be fair, like in the Silver Surfer Fantastic Four, like the old movie with Jessica Alba. The CGI of Silver Surfer in that movie was also really good.
It was already
like
amazing.
I rewatched that recently, and it was like better than Captain America, like Falcon.
Like how did we
Red
go
Hulk,
backwards
so.
in CGI?
Anyway, so I still want to know why it's your second favorite. Okay.
Okay. I think something else that I really liked about this movie was like, and I feel like this is contested, but they didn't do the whole origin story of the Fantastic Four like we've gotten multiple times before, like we've had in previous Marvel movies of like, how many iterations of the origin story are we going to get?
Okay.
This really started off kind of like, it gave us the Fantastic Four.
We all know it.
Yeah, we all know it. And I kind of liked how they just kind of brought us into the middle of the story and immersed us in their world immediately and just started us kind of laying down the foundations for like the crux of the movie essentially and what was going to come after.
And like I feel like we should talk more about that point because people are so done with origin stories.
Yeah.
Like, we're just so done. Like, we all have, like, comic book movie fatigue, which is, like, a huge thing right now. And so, like, I don't feel like the audience wants origin movies anymore.
You know how I feel.
What? You disagree?
Fatigue, never heard of her. I am in sat for every Marvel movie, but that's
I mean,
where
like,
you and I.
No, I mean, like, we always go to the premiere of every movie, but, like, you know, we're not walking in anymore being like, this is going to be so good. We're walking in now.
We're walking
like,
in
now,
skeptical.
Our attitudes are now like, oh,
Yeah.
like, God, like, what was the, like, Rotten Tomatoes score? Like,
You're right.
So, like, no, there is fatigue. And, like, we're done with origin stories, so, like, I think they did a really good job at skipping all of that and, like, understanding the audience and understanding where the audience wants Marvel to be. So, yeah, I feel like they did a really good job of that. Like, they skipped all the, like, bullshit of, like, character building.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
And instead gave us, like, a family, which is, I think, was the best part of the film, was, like, introducing them as a family and all of their dynamics together.
I think they worked really well as a family. I think the character energy was there. They worked really, really well together. I think even from the press tour, you can tell that Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby have, like, a really cute relationship.
I still find it weird that, like, she's, like, so married and pregnant, and, like, I thought they were dating on the red carpet because of how close they were, but I don't know.
To each their own. But I think they did a really good job of establishing themselves as a family, and I think it kind of goes back to the origin of the comics where the Fantastic Four was really set up to be a more relatable group of superheroes.
Yeah, it was, like, what was the tagline, like... What was it, like Marvel's
first family?
Yeah,
of like they didn't want a superhero that was like too comical, too powerful, too out there. They really wanted a family that was like rooted in this, I don't know, like American
home life.
Yeah.
Very like what is it? What decade? I'm too young. 1960s.
1960s. The movie was in the 1960s.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I think they did a really, really good job of that, of like, you know, in the comics, they're always trying to navigate the family dynamic on top of whoever they're fighting or whatever conflict is going on. And so there's always been this balance of like trying to do your job, but also being a protector and a carer and a member of your family as well. And we see that, you know, with Reed Richards and Sue Storm as the parents. Ben is kind of this like uncle figure, and then Johnny is almost like the child. I think a really good point that's been made too is that like they made these characters a lot more mature. Like, how did you feel about that compared to
Chris
like
Evans?
We've had one version of the story where they were basically in university, so they were really young. And then we've had another version where they were maybe, I don't know, like, would you say, like, late 20s, like, early 30s maybe, this family feels a lot more mature. This family felt like...
I think a part of that, though, is because I think a part of that of why this family feels more mature is because of the time it was set in. Like, the first two Fantastic Four movies are set in then modern day world, so it felt more like, I don't know. I feel like that plays into it. Like, in the timeline in the 1960s, I feel like everyone just had more of a sense of, like, responsibility, whereas...
That's fair.
Does that make sense?
We don't have senses of responsibility anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't, so... So yeah, I feel like that plays into it. Honestly, I could have watched so much more of the movie of, like, just Fantastic Four being a family. Like, that was
yes.
You know, like, even if they were to cut down the Galactus scenes, who, like, Galactus was still amazing, and I think they portrayed him well. I feel like we'll get into that, but I feel like the whole movie could have really even been even more centered around their dynamic as a family, because that was the aim of this movie.
Yeah.
And I would have, like, eaten up every single second of it. Like, I still would have enjoyed it so much.
And that's interesting because we know that they've cut a lot. They cut a lot of the movie, right? It was less than 2 hours. I think a runtime of 1 hour and 55 minutes.
Oh, I did not know that.
And so it's a pretty short Marvel movie, at least, you know, when you compare it to the previous Avengers movies. So I think they cut a lot, and I would guess that's probably for, like, clarity reasons. They maybe, like, overcorrected based on feedback, like, recent feedback of some of the movies, like, being too long or including a lot of, like, information that had no consequence.
Yeah.
For example, like The Thing, Ben Grimm, and
his love story,
Natasha Lyonne scenes, like,
yeah.
Love Natasha Lyonne. She's amazing. Like, I wish we had gotten more of that and it had a consequence or more of an impact on, like, his character in some way.
Yeah.
Because like, those are two great actors. It's a good story. And I wish we got to see more of that.
Me too. I do feel like we should have gotten to see more of that, but at the same time, I feel like if they had given us more of that, my opinion would have been like, why are they showing us all this stuff?
Yeah.
So, like, whatever. We're just hard to please, I guess.
Let's talk about Galactus, because I feel like he was... there was a lot of speculation around how he was going to show up in the movie. We saw the shadows in the theater, or in the trailer. We saw his boots stomping through New York City. The 2007 version portrayed him as this, like, hungry cloud space tornado, which obviously didn't make any sense.
Not true.
And Galactus, he's such a I mean, it's hard to say villain, but he's such a main character energy.
Yeah.
In a lot of the comics, that I think there was a lot of thought and intention gone into how he would show up.
Yeah, and, like, I guess, like, when you think about the first Fantastic Four comics that introduced Galactus, he's literally just this, like, big man,
like, big hungry giant
in like a unitard.
Yeah.
So it's like, when I first found out that Galactus was going to be the villain of this movie, I was like, how, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't, like, size and spectacle is so hard. Like, the super, like, ooh, like, magicy stuff of the Marvel Universe, especially in terms of scale, has always been really hard to portray to an audience and, like, to get them to take it seriously. And they did really well in making him, like, part of a machine, like, making him rely on this machine, rather than, like, him, like, eating planets, like, magically.
Yeah.
That's what it is in the comics, right? It is, like, more magical than that.
No, he does. He devours. Like, he literally has to consume the energy of the planet. I thought the machine was kind of interesting too, because it was like,
it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Like, for our minds, and I guess, like, for people who aren't like huge like woo woo like nerdy nerds, it like makes a lot more sense to like comprehend as a machine than like as some giant who's like to like a planet, you know?
Exactly. And I think that like it was interesting to see the 1960s aesthetic of the movie, which was a relatively like low tech time compared to now. But then we get Galactus, who seemingly has all of this like super high functioning tech.
It was very
that
Guardians.
then uses to like devour planets. And
Yeah.
I think maybe that was supposed to be them like pointing towards the multiverse and the technology that might exist out there. Or maybe it was just simply a way to make him seem more legitimate. But either way, I think it worked really well. I think when I first saw it, my immediate reaction in the theater was like, what is happening? Why are we getting all this like tech for Galactus? Just knowing the background of the character, I was a little confused.
Me
but
too.
just seeing the way it played out, I think it worked so well.
It worked, yeah. What were your thoughts of when he like jumps out of the sky and like into the water of like New York? Because when that scene happened, I turned to you and you were like, you like scoffed. You were like, I was like, whoa, hater. Okay.
I just think that like when you think about the sheer mass
What did you expect
of
it to be bigger?
Galactus, no, I think that like, I mean, one, how deep is the water when you're like that close to New York City? And then also just the sheer like weight of him plus his armor and him like jumping into the ocean, it kind of felt like they under like supported that a little bit. Like I was expecting like a way bigger, I don't know, impact.
I mean, it was pretty big. It's not like he was like an asteroid that like flew all the way in and hit the Earth at like a high velocity. He like jumped in from a perch, you know?
I mean, maybe.
And like
It
there
just-
was a huge wave like through the city. I feel like it kind of like made sense. No?
No.
Okay. Cool. Whatever.
What else worked? How do we feel about Herby?
I thought Herby was cute.
I thought
really
Herby was
liked
cute.
I thought he I mean, I love Wally so much, and Herby was literally Wally, so I had no complaints there. Herby was great.
They did a really good job, I think, integrating him into the movie. Like, we haven't seen him in Fantastic Four iterations before, and I think they did a good job of, like, making it work.
Yeah,
with
the
this-
banter worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, like the whole movie could have been banter with them and like Herby, and it would have worked.
How do you feel about this? Like, I think it could have maybe been like a series leading up to the movie, and then we could have gotten like more of the real action in the movie, and maybe we can like no
Disagree. Like again, we're so fatigued. I haven't even started Ironheart because I'm like dreading watching. I know you watched it, but like I haven't even started it because I'm like, there's just too much. There's too much. Like I'm tired of watching things and them not being good, and then being told that like it all leads together. So like I feel like I have to watch it.
yeah.
But like
And I mean,
I'm
that's
not excited for Ironheart. I'm not excited to sit down and watch it. I know I have to, but I'm not.
that's their like financial strategy. So, and I think they know now that it's not working, and
Yeah.
they've started to be a lot more selective about what they put into the pipeline.
I think so too.
But yeah, I mean, but overall, I agree. Like, I wish we could have gotten more of the family dynamics.
Me too.
Because they all did such a good job. Like, I would have wanted to see more
Yeah.
of it.
Me too. I think, yeah, by far, okay, I guess like the goal of this movie was to introduce them as a family, like
Yeah.
moving into the Doomsday.
Yeah.
Moving into the Doomsday movies. So, and like, did they achieve that? They achieved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they really did. I feel like we know what they are like as a family now. Like we can almost predict how they would act in a situation. Like we know
Yeah.
them much better. And that was the goal of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, top moments in the movie. Like, what were your favorites? What did you like?
The Silver Surfer scene.
Yeah.
Of her surfing the fire.
Oh, that was really
That
cool.
whole scene. Okay, no, it was the scene when they were. That was that whole scene of them trying to get away.
Yeah.
And when they were like, when Ben was like, "Where are we going? Like, where do we want to go?"
And we
Pedro
turned to
was
each
like,
other and we were like,
"Yeah, I thought
616
yeah, we
is
thought,
where you're going.
Yeah, because Pedro was like, "Anywhere but here." When we were like, "Oh my god, they're gonna jump to 616."
Yeah.
Lame. They didn't.
And that was, I feel like, a misdirect from the trailer.
They were. I mean, like, everyone's thoughts, right, were that Galactus was going to take over the planet and that the Fantastic Four were going to end up in 616.
Yeah, they would have no choice but to flee.
Yeah, but I guess we were wrong, but, like, we were still, like, anticipating it. But that whole scene of them getting away from Shalabal and everything, I think that by far was the best part of the movie. I was, like, on the edge of my seat. It was, like...
Me too.
It was, like, better action. Well... Like, that had me more on the edge of my seat than the Galactus scene at the end. Even though that was still great. I was more on the edge of my seat.
I was on the edge of my seat for the chase scene, but I think Vanessa Kirby in that, her acting in those last couple minutes of her pushing Galactus towards the portal, like, I fully believed that happened. Like, that they were filming that as, like, a real... scene. There was a Galactus. She was really using her force fields. Like, just the strain in her face and her body, like, it was so profound.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've seen that level of, like, believability for a while in Marvel movies.
Yeah, I think that was, in terms of acting, that was the high point of the movie.
Yeah.
For sure. Acting, that was the high point of the movie. Not my favorite scene, though. It was the chase scene with Shalabal.
Yeah.
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 How do we feel about, like, Reed Richards and his, like, this portrayal? Because we've had, again, Miles Teller's version of Reed Richards where he was this, like...
I actually thought Miles Teller's Reed Richards was...
I thought it was great, too.
I thought it was okay.
It was kind of true to his, like, awkward, nerdy character. And the 2005-2007 version with Ewan, I feel like he did a really good job, too, with Mr. Fantastic, to be honest. And I think this was the first time where I feel like we got a Reed Richards who was so, like, he was so almost, like, stuck in his own head.
Yeah.
That, like, that was where the awkwardness came from. Whereas I feel like Ewan's version and Miles Teller's version was, like, he was awkward because he was a nerd and, like, you know, studying and books and, like, physics was, like, all he's ever really known.
Yeah.
And so socializing was never a strong point versus, like, we don't get this with Reed, right? Like he goes on the...
He's a public figure.
Yeah, he's a public figure. He goes on these shows. But, like, when he's off camera and he's in the privacy of his own home, like, he's no longer distracted. He is... Or I guess he is distracted because he just kind of goes back into his brain. He's, like, thinking about all these things that he has to do with, like, the baby, how to save the world, like, what's next, what can I do better? And I think this was a different version of him. Like, where would you rank Pedro Pascal's version of Reed Richards?
I almost don't want to say it because I'm scared of, like, all the hate that I'm going to get for saying this, but he's, like, down low for me.
So, third?
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like he, like, the depth of his character was, he had the least amount of character depth in this movie. Out of the four of them, he was the least fleshed out.
Yep.
He had the least character development. I don't know. Do you agree? Like, and I don't know if they were doing that on purpose because he's so famous right now. No, actually, I don't think they were. I don't know. I think that he like, he was just my least favorite out of the 4 in this movie.
Damn.
Yeah.
Don't let him hear that. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Pedro,
He
if you're watching this.
he's definitely not.
I think it was different. I don't think I hated it. I think, you know, for those of you who aren't familiar, but you probably are, like, Reed Richards is the face of the Fantastic Four. He is Mr. Fantastic, and in a lot of ways he is the leader of the group, right? And so I think that having him be a little bit more of this toned down character left room for Vanessa Kirby to kind of step up and take the lead, which I personally loved. And we
Me
kind
too.
of got this like first time new mother dynamic with this strong, powerful, like, leader dynamic as well.
Yeah.
Joseph Quinn as the Human Torch.
He was great.
He was excellent.
He was like, it's him or I don't know his name. Ebon. It's him or Ebon. That is like, they were like the top of the 4,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I
Yeah.
disagree, but that's okay.
Who's yours, Vanessa?
Vanessa.
Oh, okay. I think she was great.
I'm a
but-
huge Vanessa Kirby stan, so I was definitely biased going into this movie. Joseph Quinn, of course, we know from Stranger Things, who was the Hellfire Club Shredder of last season, who captured so many people's hearts. And,
He was also in Gladiator too.
and Gladiator too.
Yeah.
And I think he did a really, really good job as Johnny Storm. I think a very different Johnny Storm than we've gotten in the past.
Yeah.
Also a more...
Because he's literally like intellectual. Like, and like that, like, honestly, that's like what they added to his character was actually making him
Yeah.
intellectual.
And I think
Like,
that,
at-
like, in the comics, like, he's
much-
always ambitious.
Yeah,
And
but
I think-
he's smart.
Yeah.
And like they have failed to portray that in past versions.
Right. And nowhere
So-
near as smart as Sue and Reed, of course. But, like, he was educated similarly to Sue, albeit not as much of, like, a nerd. But he's more of a team contributor in this movie than he has been in other movies. And I think that
Yeah.
plays true to maybe some of the newer versions of the comics as well. Like, he's not just there for comic relief.
Yeah, and he's not just there as like a womanizer.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think they portrayed him really well.
Do you think it's fair to say that all of these characters are more muted versions of themselves other than Vanessa Kirby?
What do you mean?
Like, all of the male characters felt a little bit more toned down versus some of the previous movies. And Vanessa Kirby was like, she is smart and she's a mother and she's like really powerful and she kind of steps up to the plate. Like, she's the one who goes out with Franklin and like makes the speech that kind of turns the tide with the public. And, you know, we get the Thing, whose story is all about, you know, his struggle with his appearance and whether or not he really fits into the group, whether or not he's supposed to be this public figure when people are also scared of him. And then we've got Johnny Storm, who is kind of this like troublemaker, who is like a ladies' man, like he's not really focused. And then Reed, who's a bit of a nerd, who like struggles to like function in social situations. Like, we all got toned down versions of that. And Sue is like, she's supposed to be Reed's almost equal in some ways intellectually, and extremely, extremely powerful. And I feel like we have gotten less of that in previous movies. And in this movie, we really get to see just how powerful she is and how strong she is as a character.
To be fair, I don't think this version of Invisible Woman has had that much like competition to like compare in the past. I mean, like, let's be honest, Jessica Alba was like literally cast in a time where like they literally just wanted like a super hot woman to play Invisible Woman, and they got it.
Yeah.
Because she's super hot. But like,
And Kate Mara, I think, was also like a very toned down version.
Yeah, she was. Like, I feel like she was quite...
She never quite figured out her powers, I feel like, that whole movie, until the very, very, very end randomly. And I feel like they focused a little bit too much on her journey and not enough of, like, this is her full potential.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I don't think there's much competition for Vanessa Kirby, but yes, she's, like, definitely by far the best portrayal
Yeah.
of her.
What else did we... Okay, what didn't work? What didn't work about the movie?
The baby.
The baby!
The baby did not work for me.
She has issues with the baby.
It was not. And, like, I like
Okay, are we
babies.
talking about the CGI?
The CGI was part of it. Yeah. Okay. The CGI was part of it. I just think the baby in general was just... I almost wish Franklin were, like, a 5-year-old kid.
I feel the same way, and I mean, like, I think this is maybe something you and I have in common, where, like, any movie, any book, anything where it's, like, the story
baby
is going to
trope.
revolve,
No.
around
Nah, yeah.
protect the baby, keep the baby safe,
Yeah.
keep the pregnancy safe, like...
Like, once Feyre got pregnant in Silver Flames, I was out of there. They were no longer it for me. Sorry.
We're getting into book talk territory, but yeah, anything around, like, the baby is, like, the ultimate way to happiness,
Yeah.
I think is a trope that, like, you and I are not big fans of. And I do think a lot of the movie focused on that. A lot of it focused on Reed trying to become this, like, 10 out of 10 stellar father. But
I think that worked because, again, it adds to the family dynamic. It's, like, literally just I think they could have shown the family dynamic with, like, a 5-year-old boy rather than a baby.
Yeah, I think that the whole, like, a lot of the story revolving around her finding out she's pregnant. She is pregnant, and there's a lot of time jumps in this movie as well. I think more so than any other movie we've gotten recently, where we're seeing time jumps of, like, 1 month out, 2 months out, 3 months out. Like, even with Galactus, who I think canonically it's 7 days, right, until destruction. Like, we got, what, a month and a half in the movie?
I don't even know what the time jump was.
Or-
But I don't know how long it takes to build those freaking portal things, but it's definitely not 7 days.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I think the other thing too that made that interesting from a timing perspective is that, like, this was a world where, when we think back on it, we're like, everybody agreed to, like, turn their electricity off at 8 p.m. Everybody was like, all the countries in the world were kind of brought together by Sue Storm and her diplomacy to be able to build these giant teleportation portals to help defeat Galactus. And, like, the level of harmony and peace that is portrayed in this Earth is a really interesting contrast to, I think, where things were left off on 616, where we're still dealing with the ramifications of Thanos' 5-year, like, blip.
Yeah.
And we're still dealing with the ramifications of the Avengers breaking up. Like,
yeah, everyone's divided.
yeah, it was a very, very big contrast to that. And I think that was also interesting to watch.
Yeah, like,
but it
wait
also...
for them to show up on 616 and be like, oh, wait, like, your whole planet didn't turn off all the lights in one go, like, to save the Earth.
And that's the sad reality of our world, folks.
And they're gonna be like, no, you did.
I think that's, I mean, for me, that was something that didn't work about this movie is they almost, because everything on this world seemed so harmonious. And I mean, when they were giving the intro of, like, how Sue brought together the United Nations and how every country works together, like, it almost felt like it, I don't know, like, took me out of the movie a little bit of, like, or at least took me out of the Fantastic Four, where they didn't set them up to be as powerful as they are. And I wonder if that was intentional or maybe something that like I just took away, because it almost like they had it easy. Like they're going on these talk shows and like they defeat all of these other like criminals, the Underminer, Mole Man, not
It is
Incredibles,
the Underminer,
the Underminer from the Incredibles, aka Mole Man.
Yeah, same thing.
But it's almost like they defeat these villains with such ease that it creates this false sense in my head of like, are they really like, will they stand up to like our Earth's mightiest heroes? Like, are they as powerful as what we've seen in the Infinity Saga? Because everything just seems to come so easily to them. Everything to them is about like bargaining.
Well, I think they're gonna get
and-
like a huge news flash when they meet characters like Thor.
And that's where I'm kind of curious how they're going to set that up, because it does seem such a massive like difference in like experience.
Well, they have Franklin, who's, he's single most powerful person in the entire Marvel universe.
Yeah, let's talk about Franklin. So Franklin is the baby of Sue Storm and Reed Richards. He is
voted most powerful character ever created in the MCU.
In the MCU.
Yeah.
Or sorry, in Marvel
universe.
Comic.
Universe.
General.
Yeah.
He has the ability to warp reality, manipulate
Creation,
atoms, creation.
yeah.
He can create pocket universes. In the comics, he can literally create planets, worlds, and that's why Galactus is so intent on getting his hands on Franklin so that he can have Franklin basically satiate his own hunger, and Galactus isn't bound to his kind of duty as this cosmic entity by his hunger.
Yeah.
And so Franklin is, of course, in high demand. And we know, Sue and Reed have multiple kids in the comics. There's also Valeria.
Yeah.
And I wonder...
Isn't there a third one?
There is a third. But I think this will be interesting. Franklin is an all-powerful being, and I'm wondering if he is brought in. We know Doomsday has a huge cast. We're getting basically every superhero we've seen in the past with superpowers. And they're going to be fighting Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Dr. Doom, aka Victor Von Doom. And I think that Franklin was brought in to like even the sides. Like, what is your prediction for what's going to happen, knowing that we got that end credits scene?
Okay, this is my favorite thing to talk
with
about.
Dr. Doom basically meeting I think 4 or 5-year-old Franklin and insinuating that he maybe kidnaps him or threatens the family in some kind of way with Franklin.
Okay, before that, I want to know your opinion on this, because actually we haven't talked about it. In that scene where Vanessa Kirby is addressing the UN, and they pan to Latveria.
Yes.
And there's no one in the seats.
Yes.
Do you think that they know Robert Downey Jr.'s Victor Von Doom? Like, do you think that he is in this universe? Like, do you think they know his character?
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, you think Robert
Yes.
Downey Jr.'s in this universe?
Yes.
And, like, he is already the representative of Latveria, and he didn't show up to that panel?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that with everything they set up Sue with, it would be odd if she didn't try and already negotiate with Victor in some way.
He's old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of new. He's like way older than them in
Yes.
this portrayal.
And I think it's interesting because, again, in the comics, Reed and Victor attend university together. They've kind of always had this intellectual
competitiveness,
which eventually ends in a physical competitiveness when they become Mr. Fantastic and Dr. Doom.
And he always has like a little some for Sue.
Yeah. He's always had his eye on her, in a way. And so, yeah, I think they know each other in this universe, though.
Okay, so you think Robert Downey Jr. was supposed to be at the panel?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think the portrayal of Doctor Doom, what do you think how do you think Marvel is going to portray Doctor Doom in this storyline? Because I feel like he's been portrayed in so many different ways. Like in the first movies, he was like not really powerful at all. What did he have? Like he had like some metal manipulation and like electricity.
It was very early stages of his discovery of his power. In the first movie, so it was an origin story of sorts. In the 2007 version with Silver Surfer, he is coming back from basically being defeated. So his powers are still lacking. They're still they're still kind of coming back as he's like recuperating. And then in the 2015 version with the Miles Teller cast, he's their age, and it's a quick decline.
Oh yeah,
like he goes to having the mishap on the foreign planet and coming back, and like everything escalates really, really quickly with them. He just falls into this like madness, and so I think that Doom, as powerful as he is, from his inherent abilities, a lot of it is also the intellect. And I think that's where, like, we have seen comics where Doom and Valeria kind of have this relationship because Victor and Reed know each other. And so we've seen where
he's like her godfather.
Right? And so we've seen this dynamic where Dr. Doom is like the godfather. There's kind of this like forbidden relationship of sorts that happens. And I wonder if this is how they even the scale in Doomsday, because Doom, as powerful as he is, I struggle to imagine how he's going to take on all of the Avengers.
And I still like don't really understand the full extent. I was just looking it up. I like don't understand the full extent of his abilities. I don't feel like it's clear, and it never has been.
Well, he has the electricity, power to manipulate energy. I think it's all energy and electricity in particular. He has the ability he has like some magneto power, the ability to manipulate metal.
But he's also like a spellcaster.
I think that is like a later evolution where he becomes Sorcerer Supreme and he like learns.
Does he actually become? I thought he was only a candidate to become.
In some of the more recent versions, he becomes Sorcerer Supreme.
Does.
So I think that there's like, there's different iterations and versions of his character where he, I think, through his intellectual abilities, like just beyond what he's given through the accident in space, like he learns and inherits these other abilities along the way. And so I think that what we'll see is I think that it could be like he takes Franklin and like
manipulates Franklin
in a way of like, I am your uncle, and like teaches Franklin to control his powers. We also know that Reed in the comics tries to control Franklin's powers because he's so young. And so I think that it could be a scenario where Doom baits him with like, if you come with me, like you can be free, you can be yourself. And it becomes this dynamic of Doom and Franklin against the Avengers. And I think that's
actually such a good prediction.
That balances the scales a little bit more than if Franklin somehow isn't in play anymore. Right?
Or on the other side. Because if he's on the other side, unless he's still like a freaking baby, like...
I mean, maybe we'll get a big time jump again. Who do you think...
I just like... I think your prediction's correct. I've never thought about it before, but I think that makes the most sense. Because I was like, in all of Dr. Doom's iterations, I was always like, how is he like gonna?
How is he going to be the villain?
Yeah, like how is he gonna achieve and like fight all of these characters and come out on top?
Yeah.
So I think it actually, I agree with you. I think he's gonna take Franklin, use Franklin, and then the Fantastic Four are gonna be like, "You took my baby. Where did you take him?" And then they're gonna start trying to find Franklin, and then they're going to go to 616.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna be like, "Oh, hello, a world full of heroes.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen our baby?"
Okay, final thoughts. Is the MCU back?
I think Thunderbolts was great. New Avengers was great.
No.
Okay. Another podcast on that. We have very different opinions in movies.
I will never let the power of friendship
I knew you were gonna.
be an acceptable resolution. As comic-y and heartwarming as it is, I'm not here for that. Leave it for the Disney movies. Leave it for the Pixar movies. This is Marvel, baby. I didn't pay $25 to watch everyone hug it out.
But I thought Thunderbolts and New Avengers was good. Like, otherwise, I think they were trying their best to get back to OG Marvel, and I think they achieved it to some degree.
Yeah.
They achieved it again with this movie. I feel like they're finally listening to everyone's opinions on, like, we're so done with you.
Yeah.
What was the last shit movie before Thunderbolts?
Captain America,
Oh, yeah. See, can't even remember
Brave New
it.
World,
Oh
yeah.
my god, that was so bad.
I would rewatch it.
I'd rewatch it. Maybe my opinion will change the second time, but like, you walk out of the theater and you're like dead inside.
This
That's,
is
like, what I felt
where
walking
a
out of that
little adds a couple stars,
theater. Yeah.
Adds a couple percentage points.
Well, like,
Just like Love and
that's why
Thunder.
your opinion. Yeah, that's why your opinion of all these like horrible Marvel movies is like, you think they're amazing. Love and Thunder. But anyway, yeah. So I think the MCU is on its way.
Yeah.
It is definitely it is coming back. But yeah, I'm excited. I think they're listening. They're listening to us. I think
Yeah.
like it's so known now. Like everyone knows that we're just in such a slump right now.
Yeah.
In terms of like fandom movies.
Yeah.
Not even like DCU and Marvel.
Yeah.
Like other movies too, like Star Wars. So
Yeah.
like it's like I think they're listening. I'm excited. I think they're building their way back up. I think Doomsday is going to be really good. And so is Secret Wars.
Me too. What would you give this movie out of 10?
A 7.
Whoa, you almost said 6.
No, I was going to say 8.
That doesn't start with an S.
I know. Where did you get that from? No, I
You
was saying
definitely
7.
said S. Okay.
Yeah, 7.
I would give the movie like a solid 8. I think this would be hard for me to like rewatch on a regular basis because it's not as action-packed as other Marvel movies, and like I'm someone who craves that. And so this would be hard for me to add, I think, into my rotation of Marvel movies that I watch on the reg. But I'm open to giving it a second chance. Where do you think this compare? Who on the Superman Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Man, Summer?
Superman won.
Superman won.
I think everyone knows.
I think Superman won. It's hard to beat James Gunn. Sorry.
Yeah.
Zach, it was tough. It was tough for you. Sorry. But yeah, I think it's worth a watch. It's in theaters playing now, and we'll get it on Disney Plus eventually after the $45 rental version comes out on Amazon Prime, of course. But check it out in a theater near you. Let us know in the comments what your favorite part of the movie was. Who do you think your favorite portrayal of the Fantastic Four was? And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we will be back with more soon. Thanks for watching. Bye!
Wait, why do you think it's the second best movie?
I have to be honest, I kind of like the 2005 version.
That's such a choice.
Next time on Cue the Cameo.